Imagine building a platform so innovative, it might have saved one of America's most iconic entertainment brands. Or standing face to face with Jeff Bezos, being offered $16 million and saying no. Business isn't a straight path. It's a series of bold bets, sharp turns, and what I call Ricochet Moments, where everything shifts in an instant. Hey, it's Nick, and this is the Ricochet Moment. All about those pivotal turning points, moments when leaders face a choice. Every business is on a trajectory, and at some point, it hits a ricochet. That ricochet can either propel you upward or send you spiraling down. The outcome? It all depends on how you choose to navigate it. This is the story of Netflix, and how choosing to skip easy exit ramps led to one of the greatest ricochet moments in entertainment history. Every remarkable brand starts with a question. For Netflix, that question came during a carpool between Mark Randolph and Reed Hastings as they commuted to their jobs in Silicon Valley. The year was 1997, and the two were brainstorming ways to leverage the rising power of the internet. Randolph admired Amazon's transformative model and wanted to find a similar, portable product to sell. Hastings, fresh off the sale of his software company, was ready to invest in something bold. But not every bold idea is the right one. Their initial consideration, VHS tapes, was discarded as unworkable, too bulky, too fragile. Then came the game changer, DVDs, a technology just entering the U.S. market. With an idea in hand, the duo mailed a CD to Hastings' home in Santa Cruz as an experiment. It arrived intact, and the vision clicked. A mail-order DVD rental business. I remember the moment Netflix became part of my life. We'd just moved into a small apartment on the outskirts of Detroit, and Friday night meant movie night. All week we'd negotiate which DVDs made the cut for our queue. Then, like clockwork, they'd arrive in those iconic red and white mailers. Simple, tear-proof, and packed with possibility. Most of the time, the discs played flawlessly. Sometimes they didn't. But even on those rare occasions, it was still miles better than standing in line at Blockbuster, waiting for someone to return the DVD so we could rent it. Netflix officially launched in August 1997, with 30 employees and 925 DVD titles. Nearly the entire catalog of DVDs available at the time. Customers could rent or buy DVDs through a sleek, user-friendly website. But selling DVDs wasn't the long game. Rentals were. It wasn't all smooth sailing. Early on, the company toyed with a pay-per-rental model. But by 1999, they pivoted to a subscription plan. Unlimited rentals for a flat monthly fee. No late fees, no due dates. It was a radical idea that put customers first, and it worked. Not everyone saw the vision. In 2000, Netflix offered to sell the company to Blockbuster for $50 million. Blockbuster CEO reportedly laughed them out of the room. By the time Blockbuster realized the threat Netflix posed, it was too late. This could just as easily be a ricochet moment for Blockbuster. A story about a company so fixated on how their customers behaved yesterday, they missed what those same customers would need tomorrow. But it's not. This is Netflix's story. A story fueled by doubt, bold investors, and unwavering vision. At every turn, there were moments that could have derailed them. One wrong move, one hesitant decision, and the outcome might have been entirely different. Hindsight, as they say, is 20/20. It's easy to dissect the what-ifs and should-haves in the rearview mirror. But let's focus on what actually happened. The bold decisions that rewrote the rules. Netflix wasn't just mailing DVDs. It was mailing possibilities. With demand surging in the early 2000s, Fueled by the rising popularity of DVD players, the company went public in 2002, raising $82.5 million. By 2005, Netflix had a catalog of 35,000 films and was shipping 1 million DVDs every day. The competition wasn't sitting still. Blockbuster entered the online rental game and even sued Netflix over patents. The battle was fierce, but Netflix stayed ahead by obsessing over its customers. They launched the Netflix Prize in 2006, offering up $1 million to anyone who could improve their movie recommendation algorithm. It wasn't just a contest, it was a signal. Netflix wasn't about to coast. Imagine sitting at the helm of Blockbuster, watching consumer behavior shift right before your eyes. You can almost hear their rationalizations. It's just a fad. Things will go back to normal soon. That's the trap. The paralysis of believing the world you built will stay the same. That the habits and demands that once made you successful are permanent fixtures. That no matter what, everything will return to how it was after this hump. Oh, how a time machine would change everything. Back to Netflix and their Ricochet moment. The moment they didn't flinch. The moment they didn't sell. They were face to face with a giant, staring down an offer that could have changed everything. And not in a way we'd celebrate today. If they'd taken the deal, folded into the shadow of a Goliath like Amazon, the Netflix we know now, the Netflix with 300 million subscribers, might not exist. There'd be no binge-watching revolution, no skip intro button, no cultural moments fueled by Netflix originals. Instead, they chose to hold their ground, to keep meeting the consumer where they were. But let's not mistake this for a glossy highlight reel. They were navigating uncharted waters. A scrappy startup up against the kind of competition that swallows companies whole. Was it vision? Was it stubbornness? Or just an instinct to bet on themselves? Maybe all three. What matters is that they didn't take the easy way out. That decision, not to sell, not to get complacent, became the inflection point. The what could have been stayed exactly that, hypothetical. The world's biggest streaming platform wasn't built in that single moment, but it could have all ended right there. That's the thing about Ricochet moments. They're rarely clean. They don't announce themselves. But in hindsight, you see it. The moment that didn't define everything after because they refused to let it. This is one of the scariest Ricochet moments for any business. The moment when a fork in the road becomes impossible to ignore. Whether you built your company to sell or the opportunity simply lands in your lap, the timing is never a guarantee. How can you be sure? How can you know that in a split second that the decision you're making is the right one? The truth is, you can't. Not entirely. But what you can do is prepare. The saying goes, easy come, easy go. But no one who's built something real would ever describe the journey as easy. You've poured in the long nights, the near misses, the all-in bets that somehow worked. And yet when the moment arrives, when someone waves a check big enough to erase all the struggle, you have to ask yourself, is this the finish line or just another chapter? The hardest part isn't the offer itself. It's the story we tell ourselves about what happens next. Selling might feel like a reward for what you've already done. But what if it's the moment you lose control of what could be? On the flip side, not selling might feel like a gamble, sticking with uncertainty when the sure thing is right there in front of you. But here's the thing. Transitions are never just transactions. They're turning points, ricochet moments. When you're standing at that fork, the question isn't just, is this the best offer I'll ever get? The real question is, what am I leaving behind? What's the story I'm going to write next? Netflix didn't sell. They faced the fork, heard the siren song of a safe exit, and said no. It wasn't an easy decision, and it wasn't a guarantee. But it was a choice that prepared them for the next leap, not just the next payout. When the moment arrives for you, will you choose to protect what you've built, or will you lean into what could be? What started as a carpool conversation became a cultural shift. By 2006, Netflix had disrupted an entire industry and captured the hearts and mailboxes of millions of customers. Their next chapter would take them from physical to digital, but the DNA of Netflix was already clear. Bold ideas, relentless customer focus, and a willingness to bet on the future. What began as a game-changing idea, delivering DVDs by mail, evolved into something even bigger, the birth of subscription streaming. But let's be honest, the Netflix story doesn't start there, and it definitely doesn't end there either. The path they traveled was anything but linear. Netflix didn't just innovate once and call it a day. They kept moving, kept adapting, and kept asking, what's next? That's how they built a brand that's become both a noun and a verb. Something woven into the fabric of modern culture. And here's the thing. None of that would have happened if they'd chosen the path of least resistance. Comfort and complacency might feel safe in the moment, but they rarely lead to greatness. Netflix faced a tough choice, the unknowns, the Ricochet moments. And instead of backing down, they leaned in. They didn't cling to what worked yesterday. They bet on what could work tomorrow. That's the real story. A story of resilience, risk, and relentless forward motion. Until next time, in your Ricochet Moment.